Good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday. It's a beautiful Saturday morning in August. It's a little bit gloomy, but at least the rain stopped. So, good morning, everyone. Enjoying my day today with a first time ever I'm gonna do my IGTV live. And I'm waiting for somebody to come in. She's a very good friend that I met and became friends with. And can you imagine during COVID? And so love this woman because I appreciate her, and I'm just waiting for her to come in so that we can do our live TV together. Hold on, just checking where she is right now. Sending her a message. So for today, good morning again. For today, we're gonna be talking about self-love. So I'm just looking for her. How do I invite people here? So, don't know how to do that. Hey, there you are.
Hey, let me see if you
Hey,
can.
so I was like, don't even know how to do this thing. It's so confusing.
Technology is a
I have
learning
no idea.
curve.
This is what happens when everything is you're not so techy, nothing, don't know anything, don't even know what to do.
It's fine. We're here. We're here.
Well, yeah, so love it, Bree. I love that you're here today. Thank you for joining me for my first IGTV live. And my new sister, my new friend. So before we start, maybe we can just ground ourselves. Maybe let's take a few deep breaths. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. So let's go ahead and take a few deep breaths. Close our eyes. Hello, Louise. I love this woman. Hello, Louise, my love.
Hi,
Come on,
Louise.
let's take a few deep breaths right now. So just close our eyes, ground ourselves, and let's do a deep breath coming from our diaphragm right now. So inhale and exhale. So I invite everyone out there, Louise, join us for this grounding right now. If you haven't done so, this is a great way to start your day. So once again, inhale and exhale. And last time, inhale and exhale. Open our eyes. A beautiful Saturday morning, everyone. Enjoying this day today. It's a wonderful day. It's not raining anymore. So how's the weather in Seattle?
Um, it it isn't rainy, but it's not like super sunny. It's kind of a medium, so it's good to go out. It's good. It's better than
Yeah,
yesterday.
so
Yesterday was completely just rain and gray. So
I think Seattle's weather is similar to the Philippines, instead, but it's not as humid. Okay, humidity here is tremendous. When you go out, you're just gonna perspire nonstop.
oh no,
Anyway,
yeah.
yeah, I went to Seattle only. I think I only went there once. long, 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 long time ago. And it rained the whole time I was there.
Yeah, you pretty much have to come mid-July to August to
Oh,
more guaranteed not having rain. You can still get rain at that time, but that's like the sunniest
yeah.
time of the year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, just wanted to, that's the reason why I wanted to invite Bree here today, is because she's really in my inner circle of my new passion, which is sistership circle. So, and I really want her to be here with me because we want to talk about sistership, what it does it mean, what circle is all about, and how that circle really lived in our lives right now. Because this is also something new to me. And so when I met Brie, she's one of the sisters that I became close with along with Vicky. And and then we said that we're not gonna stop talking, and we haven't. Actually, Brie, we've been meeting online every week and we've been helping each other out, and I'm so enjoying the journey with her. So for today, maybe Brie, let's talk about self-love. I'm sure this is what we have been journeying together about anyway, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So maybe you can introduce yourself first to everyone out there.
Yeah. So I'm Bree from Carlton Cauldrons. I am a tarot and oracle reader, and I met Charlene through Sistership Circle, and she actually didn't start as because in the program we get sister buddies, so she actually didn't start as my sister buddy, but a few changes happened and she became my sister buddy, and it was actually really fortunate because I'm so glad that I got to know Charlene the way that I do, and I'm just really happy of all the connections that I made during that program, and just in general. And I'm so grateful to have Charlene in my life.
Thank you, Brie, and I'm so glad I have you in my life as well. So, and it just aligns what Brie is doing. Actually, this is both our passion projects. So for me, my passion is really about women and connection and sistership and sisterhood. And Brie is using that as well, along with her tarot reading. Actually, that really works well together. So, Brie, I know for a fact that it's been a lot of maybe stress related things in regards to the environment there in the U.S.
Yeah.
And same here in the Philippines. Actually, we actually went back to quarantine, a more stricter quarantine again, because the cases have been rising, and
Mhm.
so there is a lot of healing that needs to be done in the environment in the country right now. So maybe for that, that's the reason why I thought maybe self-love is something that's very important for us as a topic today.
Yeah.
And maybe as a tarot reader, can I ask you, maybe opportunity to show what you can do is, can you pick a card for today? What do you think is, what's a good question for us to ask? What do you think?
What do I need to bring more of in my life today?
Oh, I
Just because
love
with
that.
quarantine we can feel bored, we can feel listless, we can feel like we just don't have anything going on. So what energy do we need to bring more of as you guys start your Saturday, I start my weekend?
Yeah, I love that question. So the question is, everyone, so if you're just, even if you haven't been listening in and you're listening in later, this is a time for you to just think of that question. What do I want to bring more of in my life? And we're going to focus on that card as well as Bree does her reading for us.
Oh, we got two cards. Is it okay if I quickly read two cards? Okay. So the two cards that we got is entwined and celebrate. So I mean, like it's, I mean, I'm just hearing be grateful and really like be mindful of what you're grateful about. Like, don't just go and say like, "Oh, I'm thankful for today. I'm thankful that it's sunny." Like, be specific. Hone in on what you're thankful about. Hone in on what you have currently in your life to celebrate, because those are the things that are gonna direct you towards your joy. Those are the things that are going to direct you towards the things that are going to help you get through, because
Right.
we're all interconnected. So let's say if you're thankful, "Oh, I'm thankful that my siblings are healthy and safe." Well, give them a call. Like, act upon that gratitude, because we need to spread just as much as like we need to work and cultivate on self-love, we need to spread
Yeah.
gratitude, and we need to spread that to other people. So I'm really just be thankful for today, but be specific, and really know like what what are the grateful things that I have currently in my life. So
And so how do you expound on intertwine? What's a better what is coming out for that when you say intertwine?
well, when I'm thinking of intertwined, I'm thinking of the specific things to be grateful about, the things that we are connected to, like being thankful that you have a house, instead of just saying, like, "Oh, I'm thankful, oh, I'm grateful, oh," like
Mm.
really just focus in on that energy. And with entwined, I'm really getting this sense that like celebration needs to be a daily practice. Gratitude needs to be a daily
Inside our
practice.
hearts,
Yeah, it needs to be
right?
something that like you need to consciously do, but it needs to come effortlessly. It needs to become more integrated into yours and my just daily life. Like, I know gratitude is
Yeah,
something that I should work on more, practicing
yeah.
more.
And
But
maybe it's yeah, and I heard you say, which I super like. I heard you say that it's not only just saying it, but also living it. Meaning, if you're grateful for your friends, call them. If you're grateful for your parents, call them. If you're grateful for whatever you have, maybe it's also good to be able to tithe or donate. Yeah, I love it. So it's actually holistic as well. So when you talk about gratitude, it doesn't just stay in the head. And actually, that's also what I've been practicing, and I've been trying to practice because I'm very much headspace. And so when I think of gratitude, I only say it, but sometimes I don't feel it. And
mhm.
that's the reason why I've been doing more on the heart space more than the head space. So all the meditations I'm doing, I'm always visualizing more on the heart, how to reset my emotions, how to live within the heart, not necessarily all the stress that are out there, but really what is the emotion I wanted to feel. I think that's so great. Yeah, I love it. So maybe just to summarize what we wanna and what we need to bring more of in our lives today is intertwined celebration in our lives, right?
Yeah, yeah. Essentially, just find a way to practice more gratitude and celebration and happiness in our everyday lives, and be
Yeah,
very specific and intentional with it.
right. Love it. Thank you, Bree, for that nice
Yeah,
reading. So
yeah.
everyone out there, if you want a card reading, you just she's gonna do a comment later, and you can just reach out to her. It's Cards and Cauldrons for Bree. Thanks, Bree.
Thank,
Anyway, for
yeah.
today, we're gonna be talking about self love. And so, what do you mean by self love? What's your definition of self
When I think of self love, I think of just genuine warmth and gentleness and comfort towards myself. Like,
love?
that is the simplest one sentence I can put self love, just because self love can involve so many different aspects. But to me, self-love is really, it's about obviously not hating myself, but it's about, I think it goes into the cards that I, one of the cards, celebrate, that I picked, that it's about celebrating who you are
Yeah.
and treasuring that.
Yeah, and it's so timely because we do want to celebrate ourselves. Because how can you celebrate what's outside if you can't even celebrate what's inside? So it's gonna be hypocritical, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's also what I'm practicing right now. And I would add what Bree is saying is that I also feel self-love is about compassion for self,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because basically we always think that we have to be perfect, especially women. I don't know why women always have to think that we have to be so perfect. We're doing so much in all these different things that we're doing, and yet we always think that we have to do it perfectly. And what happens at the end of the day is that we give everything of ourselves outside of us, but then nothing is left for us for the inside. Like right now, what I can say is I'm so loving the space where I'm in, where I'm doing coaching, where I'm doing workshops and all that. But then sometimes I don't even give time for myself. And then so funny when I had a talk like about self-love, I realized that I don't have routines that gives myself the love. And so that's what I also started. I do it for the intention of having emotions, but I thought that was already self-love, meaning my meditation, my prayer, my journaling. I thought that was already self-love. But self-love is also just having fun and enjoying yourself and just enjoying the moment. I think being playful.
Yeah.
And I keep on forgetting that I need to be more playful.
Yeah, I think it's easy for women and just in general just to forget that a part of self-love and life is to enjoy it and to realize that not every day has to be like a work day, a goal day. Some days are just meant to be lived and experienced. And I think that's something else that we need to keep in mind.
Exactly right. So I know for today maybe what we can talk about maybe Bree is has your journey been about when you talk about self-love?
Yeah. I've had an interesting journey with self love, just because I'm at a really good space now, but self love was one of those things that it was really hard for me to experience and feel and embody, just because it wasn't something that I had really had the chance to build inside myself growing up. So growing up, I just kind of fell in the neutral to don't really care about myself range, and that's not a good place to be, obviously. But like, um, and I mean, I had friends growing up. I had my family cared about me, but it was still just something just wasn't clicking all the way, and it really, it was as I started um, diving more into my personal spirituality and like really getting around other women that helped with self-love, that I was able to really build it within myself, because
Mm,
it's called self-love, but self-love isn't in a vacuum. So at a certain point, we need other people to help us build and sustain
yeah.
and grow that self-love. And it was actually through Sistership Circle and meeting Charlene and Vicky and all the other women I've met that I've been able to build up my self love. Just because, for one, they can see things that I typically can't see in myself, and that can go for everyone. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was just through Sistership Circle I was able to see my worth. And
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, I love it that when you said that it's not, self-love is not in a vacuum. I love it that you say that, because in reality, even if we say self-love, I mean us loving ourselves. What I notice is for myself, and also when I study how women are, how women think, our tendency is actually to gravitate towards how people see us
Mm-hmm.
versus how we see ourselves.
Yeah.
So when I saw that and I read that, actually it really clicked for me, because I noticed as well that I tend to see how others see me versus how I saw myself. So it's so important for us to just say this message to everyone, that it's important for you guys. Hi, Leah. Good morning. It's important for you guys to be able to, for you girls, for you sisters, tendencies, guys. Anyway, for you sisters to see yourself as how you want to see yourself in the eyes of others, not necessarily how others see you. And so it's difficult, yes, but it actually helps if you have what I the circle really helps. I mean, women who really gravitate towards you, who think like you, who believe in you, who affirm you, who really push you to the limit, who challenges you as well. I think that is so important. And so that's the reason why I am going into the circle more, is because I'm trying to find those like-minded women that will really push me up. If I'm going down, I need them to push me up. I said, if they need to push me off a cliff, push me off a cliff to be able to jump that, whether I need to take a challenge. I mean, those are the things that I really want right now. And I feel as you're growing older, I think for me, that's becoming more and more important in my life right now. Because I feel that how I also see myself is not as, it's not yet there. It's not yet 100% complete. So I'm still in my journey. So in order for me to get that 100 feet more, somebody has to say, come on, come on. Somebody has to be in that finish line and like wave the flag in front of me just to motivate me to go forward.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, self-love it's a journey. Everything's a journey, and it's I don't want to say like you can't 100% love yourself. You can, but you can. It's also that we are constantly changing and evolving, and with these changes and evolutions, that our perception of ourselves are going to change. So having a safety net like a woman's circle of in a safe space of women that can hold you up and remind you of how incredible you are can be really, really helpful in this self-love journey.
I can't hear you. Sorry, Bree. I have to fix it.
Oh,
Just fixing this. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
But I can't hear you. What happened?
Can you hear me now?
Can you try again?
Can you hear me? Hmm. Hmm. Can you hear me?
Oh, good.
Oh,
Now, yes.
okay. Okay.
All right, all right. So I have to fix this.
I'm
Okay.
technology has a mind of its own.
Yes, of course, it's okay. No worries.
Yeah. I'm just gonna start
Everything
over.
happens when it's live.
Yeah. I'm just gonna start over.
So you were saying, right?
Yeah. Where was I? That. Um.
Maybe talk about now. Hi, Leah. So maybe, Leah, if you have a question, just send your question, or maybe if you have a comment about self-love. And so I also want I also want to attach self-love to self-worth, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
I feel self-love is the action of self-worth. You feel it, self-worth is understanding who you are, but the action of it is really how do you love yourself as well. And so when you talk about self-love, what do you do to make yourself feel loved? That's what I always ask myself. What can I do more to make myself feel loved? Not to punch myself, not to be so unforgiving to myself. But for you, maybe Brie, what are the things that you do to engage yourself so that you can really love yourself?
Yeah. I mean, my self love routine is still a work in progress, but one of the things that I've started doing is to treat my body right. Is that I do like this, I have this aloe vera lotion that I put on my face every night, and I just kind of sit with it and just kind of like meditate and that sort of thing. Um, Another thing I do is like empowering slash energetic high energy music. Like if I'm feeling a little low, I might listen to something that kind of makes me feel like I want to kick some butt or something. And um
Yeah, but what's your go-to song though?
oh, I don't, oh goodness, it depends. It depends on what mood. Like Um, it's funny. I recently discovered the artist Rina Saiwayama, and
What's that?
she has a song called STFU, which is pretty much stands for "Shut the F Up." And it's a great song if you're just angry and yeah, like it's a great song. I'm reading the question.
Yeah. So anyway, Leah is saying some women feel guilty for practicing self-love or self-care because they feel that it's self-indulgence. How do we encourage them to move past the limiting belief? I love your question, Lee.
Oh yeah,
I
no.
super love your question. Actually, from my point of view, and I'm actually for me, the way I am is I'm very addicted to punching myself. And I'm not saying it violently, literally, but I'm saying how I do it is when I always think of myself, I can do better, and I'm so hard on myself. And so what I did was at the beginning, I needed to work 20, like Monday to Sunday. That was already my practice. So what I did was I made sure now that Saturday and Sunday are the times when I can just de-stress, take out time for myself. And yes, it felt guilty. I felt guilty at the beginning, but I stuck my guns and then I continued to do it. Even I felt guilty after a while, I started feeling good about it. And true enough, right? It's a habit eh. Because sometimes we're so stuck to feeling that we have to work 24 hours a day. We have to do everything for others. We have to give everything of ourselves because we've been taught that in the Filipino culture that others before yourself, right? But at the end of the day, it's so difficult that there's nothing else to give. If it's like your gas tank. How can you give something? How can you give gas to another car if your gas tank is on empty? So that's always in the back of my mind. Am I empty or not? Am I full or not? That's always the question that I pose to myself whenever I feel guilty resting, right? So how about you? How about you, Brie? How do you help people to get past the guilt?
I would say that this comes from somewhat of a place of dealing with the self worth, because like sometimes it's hard for us to indulge in self-care and indulge in self-love when our self-worth isn't at a good spot either. And I'd say really do with like really deal with the self-worth part, and that's one way that the self-love and self-care can be easier. And I
Yeah,
know um that to help them move past this limiting belief, I think it's really good to, like, if they're really just struggling with like self-worth, self-love, make a list of all the positive attributes. Ask other people that you know, like, what are some fun positive things about me? Have that list in front of you so that you can remind yourself that, hey, these are all the great things about me. These are all the things that I
yeah,
can celebrate about myself. These are all the things that are just amazing about me that I should be excited about. And use that joy to kind of fuel just your outlook on yourself.
yeah. So I think that's very good. It starts first with the limiting belief and then action.
Mm-hmm.
But also for me, I also like, even while I'm doing the work on the limiting belief, I have to take action already to change my habit, because the habit is so hard to break. So when you're stuck into automatic default, right? So our brain is like 50% of what we do as human beings is fixed in our brains, right?
Mm-hmm.
From the time we wake up to the time that we go back to sleep, 50% of everything that we do is based on habit.
Yeah.
So even self-love is not, if it's not habit, then you have to create the self-care habit to get into your self-love. And I like the fact that you also have to affirm yourself, right? Before, I noticed when I was asked to do mirror work. Mirror work is like taking a mirror in front of you, looking at yourself there, and saying great things about yourself. When I did that before, I was giggling. Whenever I said I am like that, I was always giggling. And that alone tells me that I don't feel that I'm worthy.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
when yeah,
I mean, I did. It wasn't exactly mirror work, but I did a self affirmation thing for a little while, and it's hard to maintain when you can't absorb those words. You can't fully let those words sink in, because I mean, it I would really suggest to everybody listening to try mirror work and try affirmations, and you can look up affirmations online, and it's gonna feel silly like the first few times you do it. You're gonna be probably rolling your eyes at yourself or giggling, and that's fine. I'd say still do it. Still give it a shot for a
stay.
week, for at
Yeah.
least a week. Maybe that's not the self-care thing for you, but if you are needing help building your self-worth, your self-love, maybe try finding affirmations, creating your own, but finding some are good too, and sitting in front of a mirror and saying them to you every morning and every night, and
Yeah.
let out the laughs, let out the giggles and the uncomfortableness, just because that's what we need to get out in order to really
Yeah.
have it sink
Yeah.
in.
And not only that, ask for feedback from the people who love you. I actually, I never asked before, but I did. I started asking my mom. I started asking even my husband, right? When you get married, I don't know if this is true for all, right? So I don't know if your boyfriend or girlfriend even, do you even ask, why do you love me? What makes you love me? Right? I mean, I don't know if people do that. Do
I
they
mean,
do that? I mean, for me,
I've never done that. I've never done that, but I mean, it's something legitimate that you can ask, and I feel like it's not like a degrading thing to ask someone why they love you. You just want to know.
yeah, sometimes I just ask. And then the question they always, so well, some people like my husband started when I asked him before. I don't ask him why do you love me, right? I always ask him what makes you love me, and sometimes a lot of times when you ask that, they will be like, what? Why are you asking that? You should know, right? They ask you, you should know, but I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah,
And it doesn't come from, and I feel that it's not coming from being needy, but it just comes from the fact that you want to be clear. Maybe how you see yourself, how I see myself doesn't really match how other people see me. So if that person, like yesterday, remember Brie, when we were talking and you were asking me about your how I saw you,
yeah,
and then all of a sudden you were surprised that I said humble, and then it made you, you were saying it made you happy and it was something new for you. And
yeah,
so I think that's the experience I want to have.
yeah,
That's exactly the experience I want to have, to be able to have somebody tell me that, hey, I see you as beautiful, but you don't see yourself. And then it becomes like, oh, wow. And then it now adds on to your love, your love tank. It goes up. I think that's one of the experiences I want. And it makes me feel good to be able to ask for that as well, because sometimes people just assume that you already know.
yeah.
And it's so difficult.
Yeah. I think at least in America, there's this thing where it's like if you're asking people like, "Oh, what makes you love me? What are the good things about me?" You're asking from this place of like insecurity and that you don't value yourself, but that's not necessarily the case. You may be genuinely curious. You may want
Yes.
a perspective that you can't see yourself, and
Yeah.
I think it's something that a lot of people should do more often. Just let people know why they care about them, why they like them, just because
Yeah.
I feel like we as just human and we as women, like compliments can be a bit of a touchy thing for some women, but I feel like we as women, we need to hear more compliments. We need to hear more of like what makes us great.
Yeah. So everyone, hey Mitch, hi, good morning, Joey, Mitch, Carla, Phoenix, good morning, guys. Good morning, sisters. So, if you have questions or comments about our topic tonight or today, this morning, it's tonight in Seattle, it's morning here in the Philippines.
Yeah.
So I see this lady here yawning and getting tired already. Hi, Carla. Good morning. So, guys, if you have any comments or questions about self love, just say it. Join us. Ask your questions. Whatever you. I hope, Leah, that we were able to answer your question regarding how do we get out of that guilt from the limiting belief that it's not okay to care for ourselves. Yeah. So I think that's, for me, I already said it's very much a habit that you have to create for yourself. And also at the same time, it's Brie is saying it's about your worthiness as well, and which you also need to work on, by the way. And so we are asking you guys to just use a mirror, do a mirror work and affirmation, which actually I find is very important. I think I started mirror work 3 years ago, and so when I started mirror work 3 years ago, I really felt awkward. I super felt awkward when I did my mirror work. I kept on laughing like, ah! And then it's like, it's different when you're putting on makeup, right? It's so different when you're like, oh, this is my eyes. It's so different versus you're saying to yourself, yeah, I'm beautiful. It's like even now, right? When I'm saying it in front of this crowd, if I say it for myself in front of the mirror, I'm very confident. But when I'm saying it to these viewers out there, saying, hey guys, I'm beautiful, and then I start giggling because that's when my self-confidence comes down, my self-worth comes down because I'm thinking of so many people that will say, no, you're not. No, you're not. It's like in the back of my mind all the time.
Yeah, and I
But
think,
then it's just,
yeah, I think it's also that women can easily be labeled as snobbish or arrogant the moment we start saying about ourselves, like, oh, I'm gorgeous, I'm beautiful, I'm smart, I'm this, I'm that. And I think that can actually be a huge hindrance to kind of seeing all of ourselves when we, because we're, because at that point we're starting to let other people's perception and their ideologies and beliefs get in the way of how we speak to ourselves. And
right. And I think, I want to add there, I think another thing that's getting in the way of us projecting self-love is this technology, this social media. Because every time we post, right? Every time we post, our agenda is always how many likes, how many engagements, how many people comment, and it
yeah,
becomes very depreciating. It's so depreciating, especially for me who never posted, who never Instagram before, who never does Facebook Live. It's a practice and it's really a way for me to just get out of my head. And that's also one of the reasons why I do this, actually. That's also one of the reasons I do this. It's really just to fix my own thinking about myself and knowing that whatever happens, it's okay. I
yeah,
think I think that's one of the things we have to practice as women.
yeah. I think we need to understand that it's okay to feel really good about ourselves and to feel really good about ourselves independently, like just from our own thoughts, not from other people giving us compliments, because people can give us all the compliments that we want, but if we really deep down don't believe it, then it might make things even worse. And I'd
Right.
say if you are also struggling with self-worth, self-love, even self-care, like maybe take a social media break for even just for the day, even just for an hour, like, because social media is really not built for the authentic feeling of confidence, of love. That's just not how it's built. So I'd also
Yeah,
suggest just maybe a social media break might be in order.
exactly. Exactly. It's like when I talk to a lot of people, their their triggers for actually the negative emotion comes from, yeah, I was just there on Facebook. I was just there on Instagram. And then these negative emotions come out all the time and they never stop. They don't stop the habit. They just continue to do this even though they're feeling not good about it anymore. And so
I read articles all the time. There are many articles that talk about how social media actually hits like addiction receptors in our, like, in our brain. That's probably not the way they put it, but like there's articles that say that social media can become an actual like addiction. And
yeah,
I think it's really important in today's era to just really really take a step back from your social media and realize that, like, this is not the sum of who you are. And also
yeah,
with social media, a huge problem that could come in is comparison, and realizing that, like, what you're seeing from other people on their Instagrams, on their Facebooks, that's not their whole life. That's not like that's not the day to day. That's what they want you to see. That's what they literally curated for people to see. So it's very good to remember to just not compare, and
Mm.
that social media isn't real.
I want to touch on that comparison, right? And so I think one of the biggest sicknesses or illnesses of self-love is comparison. It's also the sickness or trigger of self-worth. And so how then do we now stop from comparing all the time with everyone else? I think that's something that we need to be able to do as well, right? It's so difficult, but it has to be done. But
Yeah.
how do you do it for yourself, Bree?
Yeah, you just the social media break for one, like just don't look at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever, a day or 2 week, whatever, however long you need in order to really focus in on yourself. I feel like if you were to do this one, you were to take the break and then really just focus on yourself, focus on what makes you happy, what makes you feel good, and then build your self-love from there. um I'd also say, in terms of comparison, that this is where really building your self-worth, because if you know that deep down you are worthy no matter what, then somebody could have a 10 times better life than you, and you will still hold self-love for yourself. So I feel like the comparison is really where we need to work and build on the self-worth, because
Right.
yeah, so I'd say really just really go deep down, and if there's anything that you would complain about yourself or insult yourself about or anything like that, instead of saying that insult or that complaint, just say, I see you. I see you, and I honor you, because it is a part of you, and that is a part of self-love, that being acceptance. You just have to
Yeah.
accept all of who you are.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's about really your yin and yang. There will not be 100% of you if you don't have the good and the bad,
Hmm.
right? And the bad actually makes the good better.
Yeah.
So I think that's what we always forget, that whatever challenges or whatever negativity that we have in ourselves is actually also the one that drives us to become better. So I think that's one of the things that we can't take for granted. And so I think that's one of the most important things we need to understand. I think for me also, for the comparison, what I also do is I use values as my basis. So when I start thinking what do I value the most, and that's where I start looking at having more worth. When I start, oh yeah, somebody liked her page, somebody has 500, 5,000, 10,000. How come she has 10,000 followers? I only have this. But I stopped doing that now. And I feel that it's a practice that really started doing, because I said, okay, am I happy with what I'm doing right now? Am I happy with how people are commenting to me and saying this is what's touching me, it's good content? That's what I base it on, versus how many likes, how many thousands of people. At the end of the day, I think I'm trying to surround myself with people that will really push me up and build me up, versus the other way around. And that's the reason why it's important for me to have like a weekly conversation with Brie, because we really help each other out.
Yeah.
I think that's really helpful. I mean, and it doesn't have to be the same, we're in the Philippines, both of us. It doesn't have to be that way. And I feel that I actually got to know her more, and it makes me feel that it's so personal as well. I think our relationship has become more personal now as we go on because we've been sharing all our challenges in life. It's not only all the good things, right, Brie?
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not. And I wanted to add to what you said that just in terms of looking at the good and the bad parts of us, just really sit down and ask yourself, is this thing that I'm calling bad about me actually bad? Or is this what society or my family or someone else has told me is bad? Because that's the other that's the other thing with the self-acceptance and building the self-worth is that we look at our light self and our shadow self, and we have to see both of them for fully who they are.
Yeah,
And we really just have to see that our shadow self isn't always negative or bad or evil. It's really just the unaccepted parts, the shamed parts, the parts that have been hurt, and like like shifting your mindset from your shadow, your darker self, from being bad slash negative to just being unaccepted, uncelebrated. It might make a big difference in terms of the self-worth. And
I
I
love it.
feel like our meetings have been incredibly helpful just because it's helped me have a space to be heard, because being heard is incredibly important. And
Mhm.
in an interesting way, like talking, getting things out, clearing my energy myself is actually a form of self-care for me, because it helps me get all of the words and stuff that are going on up here out. And so that's just been a very helpful thing that's just come from all the time I've spent talking to Charlene.
Yeah, love it. So I know, Brie, that we've been talking about for a long time. I don't know how long have you been here on IG anyway. So I just want to say thank you to everyone who joined us tonight, tonight in Seattle and this
This
morning here in the Philippines. So thank you for this first IGTV. So I hope we do another one soon. Let's talk about Circle soon. But maybe just to wrap things up, right, Bree? Because I know for a fact that you're still with Sistership Circle. You're continuing your journey with
yeah,
Circle, while I'm also creating my own. So
yeah.
maybe we can invite everyone to our circles. And so, and knowing how this really helps with self-love, maybe you can just say a few words how Circle really helps your self-love journey.
Yeah, I mean, again, just as I had said, that talking to people that I trust and that I know care about me helps me feel better, helps me clear my energy. That is a form of self care. And that is something that I get out of Circle. And just the connection and the feeling of safety is really the biggest things that um, help with my self-worth and self-love, because it gave
Yeah.
me a container to really be myself. And yeah, I mean, Charlene has her circles. I'm going to be having a circle soon, so there's going to be different time zones and options to pick.
Yeah, and if you want your cards read, just call Bree
Yes.
in Cards and Cauldrons. So for me though, what Circle does is actually I joined Circle. I joined your circle. I also joined your circle. I also create my own, and it's actually two different things. So as a facilitator of Circle, what I get is actually the fact that I can guide other women to their power to empower them, and that makes me feel good because I'm like their guide or their like I'm a cruise ship director, by the way, something like that. But then at the same time though, if I need to have a refill, my circle is also Brie and Vicky also, of course, and at the same time I also join other circles so that I can replenish and refresh myself, because I feel that that's really still needed for me. And I don't think it's going to stop. So this is something that I still want everybody to do. And this is what I'm bringing to the Philippines, by the way. So everyone out there who's in the Philippines, or maybe you're in Hong Kong or Malaysia or Singapore or somewhere in here in Asia Pacific, and you come over the Philippines for an online, this is a virtual online event anyway. Join my circle. I have been creating, I started creating my circle since June of this year. And so every month I've been creating my circle every month. So please join me. I'm having another one happening this Saturday, this coming Saturday, August 15th. It's a one-day circle. It's only 3 hours. 3 hours of circle. We're gonna do rituals, movement, sharing. We're gonna do tools. We're gonna do mindfulness, meditation. A lot of things going on in circle that will just make you get out of your head, right?
Yeah.
And so I also am doing another one. September is my 4-week circle. I'm repeating a 4-week circle this time. I finished one in July. I'm doing another one in September. So anyone who's interested, please click the link on my bio. And then I'm also going to post on my comment after this. So please join us. Please join me and Bree again. And thank you so much for your time today. Bree, I loved it. I loved our topic today. It was so fluid, and I really got to know you more. Thank you so much, sister.
No, thank you for having me, and thank you for having me on your channel, profile, whatever you call the Instagram thing. I don't know, but thank you.
Thanks, Bree. Have a good night. Love you.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.